There is a chipped enamel jar sitting at the back of my icebox right now, and every scrap of supper that would have hit the trash this week is living inside it instead. It is Thursday, the jar is 3/4 full, and come Sunday, every spoonful of it will walk back onto my table as a pot of soup that costs me nothing. My mother called it the second supper jar. She started keeping one in 1934. And in 90 years, not one member of this family has ever scraped a plate into the bin. That is a leftover method my mother used, so nothing was ever thrown away, and the grocery store on the corner would very much rather you never learned it. I am going to show you exactly how she did it, and I am going to show you 4 things. And number 3 is the one that saved my neighbour, Ruth Delgado, near $40 a month, without her lifting a finger. So pour yourself a cup of coffee, hit that subscribe button so you can find your way back to my kitchen, and settle in with me. Now, most folks think a leftover is a sad little thing you eat again out of guilt, cold, standing at the counter, before it turns and you throw it out anyway. That is not what a leftover is. A leftover is groceries you already paid for, sitting there waiting to be counted twice. My mother raised 6 children through the worst of the 30s on a railroad man's wages, and she did it because she never once bought the same supper twice. The food came into that house one time, and it left as 3 or 4 different meals. The waste bin under her sink held nothing but the bones the dog would not take. Let me start with the jar itself, because that is the whole heart of it. You take one clean glass jar, quart size, and you set it at the front of your icebox where you cannot pretend you do not see it. Every night, every spoon of vegetable, the half a carrot, the tail of the green beans, the potato nobody finished, the last of the peas. It does not go in the trash, and it does not go down the drain. It goes in the jar. By the end of the week, that jar is a full quart of paid-for food, and on Sunday you tip the whole of it into a pot with water and whatever bone you saved, and you have a soup that fed my mother's 6 and now feeds anyone who sits at my table. She never wrote a soup recipe in her life. The recipe was the week. Here is the part the grocery store has spent 50 years hoping you would forget. They count on that scraped plate. They count on you buying a whole new supper on Monday, because Sundays went in the bin. Half of what a family throws away was food that was still perfectly good the day before. Food you already carried home and paid for. My mother did not have more money than her neighbours. She had a jar, and she had the nerve to count her groceries twice. That brings me to the second thing, and it is the one nobody tells you. The method only works if the food never gets a chance to hide and spoil, and the way you beat that is you cook once and you plan the walk. Sunday's roast chicken is not 1 meal, it is 3. The bird is Sunday's supper, the meat off the bone is Tuesday's pie or a plate of sandwiches, and the carcass itself goes in a pot of water on the back of the stove and becomes a broth that carries you clear to Friday. My mother called it walking the chicken across the week. You buy the one bird and you make it walk 7 days before you let it rest. Folks marvel that I feed company on nothing. I am not feeding them on nothing. I am feeding them on Sunday, 4 days late. Now stay with me, because the third thing is the one that matters most for your grocery bill, and it is the one that saved Ruth Delgado near $40 a month. Ruth is 81 and lives 2 doors down, and she was throwing out a heel of bread and a soft half loaf every single week, because bread goes stale faster than one widow can eat it. So I walked over with a paper sack and showed her what my mother showed me. Stale bread is not garbage. It is the beginning of half a dozen suppers. The heels dry on the sill and become the crumbs that stretch a pound of meat into a meatloaf that feeds twice as many. 2 thick slices gone hard become a bread pudding that costs a splash of milk and a spoon of sugar. Even the driest crust goes into the soup to thicken it. Ruth has not bought a box of breadcrumbs since, has not thrown a slice away since, and she figured it saved her the better part of $40 a month. That is not nothing. That is a week of groceries out of the bread she was already burying in the trash. And the fourth thing is the one that makes all the rest of it hold. None of it works if the food you saved sits in the back of the icebox unnamed until it turns and you have to throw it out after all, which is the very waste you were trying to beat. So my mother kept what she called the Eat Me shelf, one shelf at eye level, and everything that needed using next went there and nowhere else. A little grease pencil mark on the jar told her the day it started. When you open that door, the food that is closest to turning is the first thing your eye lands on, so it gets eaten first, on purpose, while it is still good. You are not saving food to admire it, you are saving it to eat it. And the Eat Me shelf makes sure you do, before the icebox quietly turns your thrift back into garbage. So that is the whole of it. A second supper jar at the front of the icebox, one bird walked across the whole week, a bag of stale bread turned into 6 new suppers, and an Eat Me shelf so nothing you saved is ever lost. A glass jar and a grease pencil, and this family has not thrown away a scrap of good food since Franklin Roosevelt was in his first term. Ruth has not either, not since that bread sack, and she keeps her own jar at the front of her icebox now. The grocery store did not bury this because it was complicated. They buried it because it was free, and a family that counts its groceries twice buys half as many. Your mother knew it, my mother knew it. Now you know it too. And there is nobody who can stop you from setting a clean jar at the front of your own icebox tonight. You go be thrifty and be wise this week, the way the women in my family have stretched $1 for 90 years. If this kept you company today, leave me a comment and tell me one thing your own mother did so nothing went to waste. Because I read every one. I will keep the porch light on and the coffee warm for you. This is Franny, and I will see you at the kitchen table.